2022, one filing slid onto the clerk's desk, and the high-stakes murder trial of Mickey Haller teetered on the brink. The paper was thin, a single sheet of legal form, but its weight felt like a ton of steel. In the packed Los Angeles courtroom, the judge's gavel still echoed from the opening statements when a nervous clerk whispered, "Your Honor, we just received this." The defense team froze, eyes flicking to the evidence board where a mountain of photographs, forensic reports, and a $1.2 million bail bond loomed over the case. Every witness that had taken the stand over the past 2 weeks had painted a picture of a crime that could shatter a powerful real estate syndicate. Haller's client, a small-time contractor, faced a life sentence unless the jury believed the testimony of a former associate who claimed the syndicate orchestrated the murder. The associate's story hinged on a single, damning email chain, one piece of digital evidence that could tip the scales. Just as the prosecution prepared to call its next witness, the clerk's hand trembled, and the filing fell onto the floor. It was a motion to suppress that same email filed minutes after the deadline for new evidence. In a courtroom where every minute of testimony had been meticulously logged, the motion threatened to erase days of recorded statements, effectively wiping out the associate's entire narrative. The audience felt the tension crackle like static. The prosecutor's eyes narrowed. The defense counsel began to sweat. If the filing were accepted, the associate's testimony already on tape, already dissected by jurors, could be ruled inadmissible, and the entire prosecution's timeline would collapse. The stakes were not just legal, they were personal. Haller's client's freedom, the lives of the witnesses, and the credibility of the entire trial hung on whether the court would honor the procedural deadline or allow the evidence to stay. A breathless hush settled over the gallery. The judge's chair, an imposing oak throne, seemed to loom larger than ever. The clerk, still clutching the filing, looked up, eyes meeting Haller's for a fleeting second, a silent question. "Do you have a chance to fight this?" The courtroom's clock ticked, each second a reminder that procedural rules, often invisible, could become the most lethal weapon in a trial. The moment hung unresolved, a question echoing through the chamber. Could a single late filing erase weeks of testimony and jeopardize a client's chance at freedom? I've spent years dissecting courtroom drama and its real-world legal foundations. Source: Variety. Season 1 of The Lincoln Lawyer follows defense attorney Mickey Haller as he navigates high-stakes cases in Los Angeles courts. The trial at the center of this story isn't fictional. Season 2 of The Lincoln Lawyer set the stage for a pivotal courtroom showdown that would test the limits of procedural law. Netflix announced that the new season would feature a dramatic trial with unexpected testimony that challenges procedural norms, promising viewers a front-row seat to the mechanics of a real courtroom crisis. Source: Netflix press release. Legal analysts have long warned that TV dramas gloss over filing deadlines, treating them as mere plot devices. In reality, federal court rules demand that any new evidence be disclosed to opposing counsel and the judge within a strictly defined window, or risk being excluded entirely. This procedural safeguard is designed to protect the integrity of the trial, ensuring that both sides operate on an even playing field. Source: U.S. courts. Court rules require that any new evidence be disclosed to opposing counsel and the judge within a specified time frame. In the upcoming minutes, we'll peel back the layers of this procedural breach, trace how a single filing could dismantle a case built on months of testimony, and reveal the witness whose credibility became the fulcrum of the entire trial. Stay tuned as we uncover how the law's smallest deadlines can become its biggest killers. The camera pans across the bustling hallway of the courthouse, the echo of footsteps matching the ticking clock. Flashcards appear on screen. Filing deadline 24 hours and new evidence must be served. A close-up of the filing's header, the words "motion to suppress," stark against the legal form. A low drone hum underscores the tension as the narrative dives deeper into the procedural maze that could erase days of testimony. The courtroom hums with the low drone of whispered arguments and the shuffle of case files. Against the polished wood and dark robes, one figure stands out, Mickey Haller, the Lincoln Lawyer, leaning forward in his chair, fingers drumming the defense table. His reputation for turning procedural cracks into wins has made him a legend in LA criminal courts. But today, that reputation faces its greatest test. The camera lingers on Haller's face, eyes scanning the gallery, jaw set. Across the aisle, the prosecution team sits rigid, their strategy suddenly in question. The air is thick with anticipation. A single filing, delivered late, has rewritten the rules. And now a surprise witness is about to step into the frame. The doors at the back of the courtroom creak open. A man in a worn leather jacket enters, escorted by a bailiff. His presence is unremarkable at first glance until the murmur ripples through the gallery. Who is this person? What do they know? And why weren't they disclosed on time? The judge, her expression unreadable, gestures for the witness to take the stand. The surprise witness, whose identity remains sealed under court order, has been thrust into the center of the trial not by strategy, but by a procedural earthquake. Their connection to the case isn't just tangential, it's damning, because one filing changed everything. On the screen, a document appears, its timestamp glaring in bold red, filed 48 hours after deadline. The caption reads, Exhibit A, Late Disclosure Notice. The rule is clear. Under Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 16, any new witness or evidence must be disclosed to the opposing side within a set window. Miss that window and the evidence is inadmissible. Full stop. Source, U.S. Courts, Briefs, and Legal Forms. Court rules require that any new evidence be disclosed to opposing counsel and the judge within a specified time frame. But Haller's team missed theirs. Legal analysts say this isn't just a technicality, it's a game changer. Courtroom dramas often downplay deadlines, treating them as plot conveniences. In reality, they're the foundation of fair play. Deadlines aren't just dates on a calendar, says a legal scholar in an interview with the New York Times. They're the firewall between surprise and justice. When one side hides a witness, they don't just bend the rules, they erase them. The surprise witness takes the oath. Their voice is steady, but their hands betray tension. They've been waiting for this moment, not as a participant, but as an outsider, until a single filing pulled them into the storm. Source, Netflix press release, The Lincoln Lawyer returns for Season 2. Netflix announced that Season 2 will feature a dramatic trial with unexpected testimony that challenges procedural norms. What they say next could unravel Haller's entire defense. But here's the catch. It's not just who they are, it's when they were disclosed. Or rather, when they weren't. The prosecution's objection is immediate. Your Honor, this disclosure is untimely. The defense violated Rule 16 by failing to notify us of this witness within the required window. Haller rises, calm but firm. Your Honor, the witness was only recently identified. The late filing reflects diligence, not deception. The judge leans forward. Diligence doesn't excuse noncompliance. The rules exist to prevent ambushes at trial. On screen, a timeline flashes. Day 1, evidence disclosed. Day 3, deadline missed. Day 5, witness revealed. Source, Variety, The Lincoln Lawyer NBC series. Season 1 of The Lincoln Lawyer follows defense attorney Mickey Haller as he navigates high-stakes cases in Los Angeles courts. This is Haller's first rodeo. He's known for exploiting loopholes, turning minor oversights into major wins. But this time, the loophole is closing from the other side. The surprise witness begins to speak. Their testimony isn't about guilt or innocence, it's about timing. About a filing that should have been shared weeks ago. About a breach that doesn't just weaken the case, it nullifies prior evidence tied to it. Because under the rules, if a witness is disclosed late, any evidence connected to them statements, leads, even prior testimony, can be challenged as tainted. The screen splits. On the left, Haller's closing argument from last week. On the right, the late disclosure notice. The contrast is stark. One moment, he's on a fence. The next, his strategy is in freefall. A legal expert off-screen explains the stakes. When a filing deadline is missed, the court has two choices: admit the evidence with cautionary instructions or exclude it entirely. Either way, the prosecution's narrative is disrupted. Source, The Hollywood Reporter, The Lincoln Lawyer Season 2. The second season introduces a pivotal courtroom showdown where a surprise witness threatens to derail Haller's strategy. The surprise witness isn't just a witness, they're a procedural bomb. And Haller's entire case is built on the rubble of what came before. The judge listens, her pen hovering over a blank order form. The room holds its breath. One filing killed Mickey Haller's case. The witness just proved it. And now the court must decide, is justice served by enforcing the rules or by bending them for a man who's made a career out of bending them first? The courtroom door swings shut, and the first witness takes the stand. A nervous hush settles over the gallery as the person leans forward, eyes fixed on the clerk's docket. "I was the one who filed the paperwork," the witness says, voice trembling, "and I realized it was filed under the wrong case number." The revelation lands like a gavel strike. The clerk's ledger, already a tangle of entries, now shows a misfile that could erase the very evidence Haller has built his defense around. The audience watches the pages flicker on the monitor, each line a breadcrumb toward a procedural abyss. Judge Alvarez leans forward, eyebrows knitting. "Counsel, you're aware that any new evidence must be disclosed within the statutory window," she reminds, echoing the federal rule that governs every filing. Source: U.S. courts, briefs, and legal forms. A collective intake of breath ripples through the room. Haller's eyes flick to his client, then to the opposing counsel, searching for a lifeline that suddenly feels out of reach. The defense's cornerstone, an expert testimony linking the defendant to a crucial alibi, now teeters on the edge of exclusion. The prosecutor, sensing the shift, rises. "Your Honor, the filing error is material. It jeopardizes the integrity of the trial," they argue, their words a razor-sharp counterpoint to Haller's careful choreography. Source: Hollywood Reporter, Lincoln Lawyer Season 2. Haller's mind races. He had spent weeks rehearsing objections, rehearsing the rhythm of cross-examination, now forced to rewrite his strategy on the fly. The clock ticks, each second a reminder that procedural missteps can dismantle a case faster than any jury verdict. The judge's gavel rises, a pause that feels like an eternity. "I will consider the implications of the misfiled document," she declares, her tone neutral but heavy with the weight of a possible dismissal of the evidence. Source: Variety, The Lincoln Lawyer Season 1. A murmur spreads like a spark in dry timber. Spectators shift, some whispering about the rarity of such a procedural bomb in a televised courtroom drama. The tension is palpable. Every breath becomes a soundtrack to the unraveling of Haller's plan. Haller rises, his posture rigid, his voice steadier than he feels. "Your Honor, the evidence was properly disclosed to the defense, albeit under an erroneous docket number," he argues, buying time, buying a chance to salvage the case. The courtroom watches his every move, waiting to see if a legal loophole can rescue the narrative. The prosecutor's rebuttal is swift. "The rule is clear. Disclosure must be timely and accurate. The misfile undermines that certainty," they say, reinforcing the procedural principle that the series has highlighted as a dramatic catalyst. Source: NY Times, Courtroom Dramas and Legal Accuracy. Outside the bench, the jury box remains empty, a reminder that the drama is still being written. Haller's team huddles briefly, fingers brushing over legal pads, eyes scanning the courtroom for any advantage. A briefcase opens, a stack of case law slides out, each citation a potential shield against the procedural tide. The judge leans back, a sigh escaping her lips. "I will issue a ruling after reviewing the filing requirements and the impact on the pending evidence," she announces, her words sealing the moment into a cliffhanger that will define the episode's arc. Source: Netflix press release, Lincoln Lawyer returns for Season 2. The gallery erupts. Phones buzz, murmurs crescendo into a roar as the audience processes the implication. A single misfiled document could topple a defense that seemed airtight. The tension spikes, the stakes magnify, and the future of Haller's client hangs in the balance. In those seconds, the courtroom transforms from a place of orderly debate to an arena where a single procedural slip can rewrite destinies. Haller's strategy, once a meticulously plotted map, now unravels thread by thread, each thread tugged by the witness's confession. The camera pans to the witness, eyes downcast, aware that their slip has ignited a chain reaction. The judge's gavel rests on the bench, a silent promise that the next move will decide whether the case survives or collapses. And so the episode pauses, the audience left with a single, lingering question. Can a seasoned defense attorney outmaneuver a filing error that threatens to erase his client's hope? When a single filing slips through the cracks, an entire case can collapse. In the Lincoln Lawyer Season 2, a surprise witness materialized only after a late-filed document forced the defense to scramble. Source: That moment mirrors a real courtroom rule. Any new evidence must be disclosed to the opposing side and the judge within a strict deadline. Source. When the deadline is missed, the opposing counsel can move to strike the evidence, often sealing the fate of the case. Legal analysts have long warned that shows gloss over filing deadlines, yet the consequences on screen are starkly accurate. Source. A single missed motion or untimely affidavit can erase a defense strategy, force a plea, or even trigger a mistrial. Attorneys who treat each docket entry as a potential turning point protect their clients from that very vulnerability. Meticulous case management, tracking every deadline, confirming receipt, and double-checking every attachment becomes a matter of survival. Season 1 of The Lincoln Lawyer already showed Haller juggling high-stakes cases in Los Angeles courts. Source. By Season 2, the series amplified the risk. A procedural misstep opened the door for a witness who could have derailed the entire trial. Source. The narrative underscores what every practicing lawyer should internalize. The paperwork you file is not a formality. It is the backbone of your argument. One practical habit is to maintain a master filing calendar that flags every mandatory disclosure date, then cross-verify with the court's electronic docket. A simple checklist: date, document type, parties served, confirmation receipt, can prevent the kind of oversight that turned a fictional trial on its head. This discipline is echoed in federal guidelines that stress timely evidence exchange. Source. If you want more deep dives into the hidden mechanics that decide who wins in the courtroom, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Each episode, we peel back the script to reveal the real legal principles that drive the drama. Your next case could hinge on what you learn today.